Usually when we think about buying a tool, our first instinct is, well, we go for maximum utility.
Right, you want the thing that does it all.
Exactly. Like you walk into a camping store and you are immediately drawn to that massive, bloated Swiss Army knife.
Oh yeah, the really thick one.
The one with the scissors, the saw, the magnifying glass, the toothpick, maybe a laser pointer. You hold it and you just think, I am prepared for absolutely anything.
Right, it gives you this illusion of total security.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we've been conditioned to expect our software to be exactly the same way. For the last decade, the gold standard was buying these massive platforms that promised to do, everything for everyone in your entire company.
But then you actually go into the woods, you try to use it, and you realize, well, the scissors don't really cut anything.
Yeah, they're completely useless.
And the saw is way too small to get through an actual branch. So you're just carrying around this heavy, clunky brick of compromises.
That is a perfect way to put it. And right now, the entire software industry is having that exact same realization. Buyers are just exhausted.
They really are.
They're actively abandoning those billion-dollar Swiss Army knife platforms for tiny, hyper-specific tools built by just one or two people.
Which is exactly our mission for this deep dive today. We are exploring a fascinating stack of reports, case studies, and market analyses from 2026.
All about this exploding SaaS landscape.
Right. We want to uncover this massive shift happening right now. How tiny one-person MicroSaaS startups are quietly taking over specific niches and surviving the AI revolution. So just to set the stage with the data, the global SaaS market is projected to hit $376 billion in 2026.
Which is massive.
Huge, and it's on its way to over $720 billion by 2028.
But underneath that massive number, there is a quiet revolution happening. The growth isn't just coming from Silicon Valley giants anymore.
Right.
It's coming from what the industry calls micro-SaaS businesses. And analyzing these case studies today, it's not just about software. It is a blueprint for extreme efficiency.
Yeah, it really is a blueprint.
We're going to distill insights from programmatic SEO guides, MicroSaaS case studies, and AI market analyses to give you a complete picture of how modern digital businesses are actually scaling today, with practically zero headcount.
Okay, let's start right there with the headcount, because we are transitioning away from these massive venture-backed global software companies.
Ones with 500 employees burning through piles of investor cash.
Exactly. Instead, we're looking at operations of like 1 to 5 people, usually just solo founders. And from what I'm seeing in the stack, they are bypassing traditional funding entirely.
Completely bootstrapped. And the speed is what's truly staggering.
Oh, the speed is wild.
Right. They are building their MVP, their minimum viable product, which is just the absolute most basic, stripped-down version of a tool in just 4 to 12 weeks.
4 to 12 weeks? That's nothing.
It's incredible. And they aren't trying to build a $100 million unicorn. They target a very specific localized problem. They're aiming for a comfortable $5,000 to $50,000 in monthly recurring revenue, or MRR. But because they have no middle management, no fancy downtown offices, their net profit margins can hit up to 80%.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because 80% profit margins with a team of 1 sounds amazing.
It does.
But if they are only targeting a tiny localized problem, aren't they putting a massive ceiling on their growth? I mean, it sounds like instead of trying to sell a multi-tool to every camper in the world, you're selling a highly specialized custom-gripped scalpel specifically to, like, left-handed neurosurgeons.
That's actually a great analogy.
But doesn't that make the potential market way too small to actually survive?
It seems counterintuitive, but that small market is exactly the point. Because the overhead is virtually non-existent. You don't need 1 million users to build a life-changing business.
Right, because you're keeping all the money.
Exactly. Now, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the reality is that this isn't a guaranteed lottery ticket. The data shows that 70% of MicroSaaS operations actually make less than $1,000 in MRR.
Oh, wow. So a lot of them do fail or just stay tiny.
Yeah. But if you look at the median profitable one, it hits around $4,200 a month. And successful founders regularly scale that past $10,000 a month in under 18 months.
So it's really about redefining what a successful software business actually looks like.
Exactly. Think about your own work life for a second. How many times this week have you suffered through some clunky enterprise software?
Oh, too many.
Or you resorted to building a messy, complicated Excel spreadsheet just to get one specific daily task done.
Yeah, we've all been there.
MicroSaaS targets exactly those localized manual workarounds. You are paying for the exact solution to your exact headache and nothing more.
Which brings us to the golden rule of this new era, the idea that the riches are in the niches.
I love that phrase.
Let's look at exactly how small these niches get, because the specificity in these case studies is honestly just wild.
The guiding principle these founders use is slicing the vertical thinner. So you don't build project management software for dentists.
Because that's still too broad.
Way too broad. You build project management software for orthodontists who only do Invisalign.
That is so specific.
It is. And the rule of thumb in the reports is really fascinating. If the niche you are targeting has an annual industry conference of under 2,000 people, it is the perfect size for a MicroSaaS.
So what does that actually look like in practice? Like, who is actually building and paying for this?
Well, look at the data on who builds these tools. 58% of successful MicroSaaS founders were actually the target customer before they built the tool.
Wait, really?
Yeah. They literally just automated their own daily frustrations.
That makes so much sense.
Right. For example, there's a CRM, a customer relationship manager called Church Desk.
Okay.
It's built specifically for small European churches, and it pulls in 22,000 euros a month.
For churches?
Yeah. Then there's Doggy Dashboard, making $9,000 a month, just handling booking logistics for independent dog groomers.
Okay, dog groomers in churches I get.
Yep.
But there was one in the sources that absolutely blew my mind. Easy Fulfill.
Oh, Easy Fulfill, yes.
A solo founder business making $8,000 a month. And from what I read, all it does is help Shopify store owners upload tracking numbers from CSV files.
That's it.
Like $8,000 a month for just that.
It sounds totally absurd until you understand the mechanics of the pain it solves.
Yeah.
So a CSV file is just a basic, raw spreadsheet format, comma-separated values.
Right.
A lot of older warehouses and suppliers, they send their daily shipping updates in these massive, messy CSV files.
Just walls of text and numbers.
Exactly. And if you run a Shopify store, manually copying and pasting hundreds of tracking numbers from a spreadsheet into your store, it takes hours of mind-numbing work every single day.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Easy Fulfill just automates that one invisible background task. And here's the kicker. That software has a refund rate of less than 1%.
Less than 1%? How is that even possible?
Because it does exactly one thing flawlessly, and it operates entirely in the background.
So there's no learning curve.
Barely even a user interface for the customer to get confused by. It eliminates human error, and it gives the store owner 2 hours of their life back every day. When software does that, you never cancel it.
Okay, so you find a weird pond to fish in. You know, craft breweries trying to track their hops inventory or cottage cleaners in Ontario. But if you're listening to this and thinking, I don't know how to code, how do I know if this is actually worth pursuing? Like, how do you know if anyone will actually bite before you spend months trying to figure out how to build it?
Well, you don't guess, and you definitely don't build first. The sources outline this very specific 7-day validation playbook.
I loved this part.
What's fascinating here is how simple it is. Here's exactly how it works. You mock up 3 visual screenshots of what the software will look like using a free design tool like Figma.
So you aren't coding anything yet?
No code at all. You're just drawing a picture of the solution.
Yeah.
Then you cold email 20 highly targeted potential users. You explain the very specific problem you are solving, show them the pictures, and ask them for a $50 lifetime prepay to get early access once it's built.
Ah, so you're asking for money up front because, you know, giving someone $50 proves real agonizing pain.
Exactly.
It's not just a polite colleague saying, sure, yeah, I'd totally use that. They are voting with their wallet.
Precisely. If 5 out of those 20 people actually give you their credit card, you build it.
And if they don't?
If they don't, you refund anyone who did pay and you just walk away.
Wow.
And you can apply this validation model to almost any project you are working on, even outside of tech. Don't build the final product until the pain in the market is proven to be worth paying for.
Okay, I love the $50 validation trick. But logically, that brings up a massive red flag.
What's that?
If it is that easy to map out a solution, and if these tools are really so small and simple, what is stopping me from just taking my validated idea, walking over to ChatGPT, and asking artificial intelligence to code the entire thing for me by tomorrow morning? Doesn't AI just wipe all of these solo founders off the map?
That is the existential threat hanging over the entire tech world right now. And the market reality in 2026 is brutal.
Yeah.
According to the data, 90% of basic AI wrappers are currently failing.
Real quick, just to be clear for everyone, an AI wrapper is basically a tool that just takes whatever the user types, secretly passes it to an engine like ChatGPT, and then spits the answer back in a slightly prettier interface.
Exactly. They have no proprietary data of their own. They are just a thin layer of paint over someone else's intelligence.
Got it.
And they are operating on squeezed 25 to 35% margins before they eventually just die out.
Yeah.
The technological shift killing them is the move from AI copilots to agentic AI.
Okay, break that down for us.
So a copilot is an assistant. It needs you to hold its hand and prompt it. Agentic AI is an autonomous agent.
Meaning it works on its own.
Exactly. You give it a goal, and it executes multi-step workflows entirely on its own. It handles exceptions, it browses the web, it verifies its own work. If your software is just a simple AI chat assistant, it is already obsolete. To survive, MicroSaaS founders have to build an AI-proof moat.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because according to the reports, these moats are built out of things AI cannot easily fake, scrape, or replicate.
Right.
We're talking about user-contributed review networks built by verified humans, or proprietary data.
Like niche compensation databases or historical price trackers that a founder has been quietly building for, 5 years.
Yeah. Let's look at the prime example from the reports, EcoTrack Analytics.
Oh, they are brilliant.
They are a bootstrapped compliance tool for small manufacturers dealing with ESG regulations, and they hit $20 million in annual recurring revenue.
Which is staggering for a bootstrapped company.
Totally. And they didn't do it just by having good code. They built their moat using community-led growth.
Right. They created these private, highly curated Slack groups just for their users to benchmark against peers.
They actually had the manufacturers co-design the upcoming features of the software.
Yes. And for their referral program, they didn't just give out boring cash discounts. They rewarded users with physical, verified carbon offset credits.
That is so smart. So essentially, if your software is just a thin layer over ChatGPT, you're toast. You have to build the digital equivalent of a walled garden where the soil itself, the proprietary data, and the community is what the customer is actually paying for, right?
Well, I'd actually push back a bit on the phrase walled garden.
Oh, really? How come?
Because a walled garden implies you are trapping them against their will. It's actually more about having deep roots.
Deep roots, okay.
Deeply integrating into a customer's existing workflow is what makes the software too painful to rip out. If your MicroSaaS connects directly to their warehouse hardware and their local tax software, a generic AI text generator can't easily replace that.
That makes total sense.
For you listening, think about the most sticky tools you use in your daily life. Is it the buttons and menus you're loyal to? Or is it your own data trapped inside it that keeps you paying every month?
Yeah, it's always the data. You just don't want to migrate everything.
Exactly.
But if we go back to agentic AI for a second, if these autonomous agents are now autonomously doing the work of multiple humans, that fundamentally breaks how software has been sold for the last 20 years.
Oh, completely.
If I sell software on a per employee seat basis, $20 per user per month, and suddenly one AI agent does the work of 10 of my clients' employees,
Right.
charging per seat is economically catastrophic for me. My revenue just dropped by 90%.
Which is exactly why 85% of SaaS companies have now shifted away from the per-seat model.
So what are they doing instead?
They're moving toward hybrid and usage-based pricing.
Wait, for anyone who isn't a developer, when you say usage-based or consumption-based pricing, you essentially mean paying for outcomes, right? Rather than just paying a flat monthly fee for a login.
Exactly, like OpenAI's API model.
Mm-hmm.
It's like paying for the water you actually use instead of a flat water bill. You align the cost of the software directly with the value it actually generates. Look at Neuroflow AI in our case studies. They turned a $500,000 seed fund into $100 million in recurring revenue in just 18 months.
That is just ridiculous growth.
It is. And their AI agents don't just chat with patients. They independently resolve complex healthcare tasks, like drafting and submitting prior authorization letters for insurance companies.
Which takes hours for a human to do.
Exactly. But the genius part, they monetize based on agent capacity, the actual number of successful insurance interactions the AI handled. They completely ignored how many human administrators logged in.
But getting the pricing right doesn't matter if your customers keep leaving. And the reports highlight that the biggest killer of these tiny MicroSaaS companies isn't competitors, it's churn.
Yes, when customers cancel.
And what's fascinating is that sometimes they don't cancel because your product is bad. They cancel because of the reality of their own industry.
This brings up one of the most brilliant adaptations in the stack, HomeForge Pro.
Oh, I loved this case study.
They built a VerticalSaaS specifically for HVAC and plumbing contractors. but they were bleeding cash due to a massive 22% seasonal churn rate.
Because contractors are just canceling their subscriptions every winter.
Right. Business slowed down, and they simply didn't need project scheduling tools when there were no projects.
So instead of fighting the winter, HomeForge introduced what they called seasonal intelligence.
Yes, the software literally changed its own dashboard based on the time of year.
Wow.
In the summer, the user interface highlighted project tracking, dispatching, and scheduling. But when winter hit, the dashboard shifted automatically to push tax preparation planning, inventory audits, and cash flow forecasting tools.
And didn't they change the billing too?
They did. They introduced demand-based pricing. So contractors paid more during the busy summer, and the costs scaled down based on low winter job volume.
That is wild. So wait, instead of fighting the fact that their customers didn't need them in the winter, HomeForge literally shape-shifted their product to become a completely different tool.
Essentially, yes.
That is like a snowplow company turning all of their trucks into lawnmowers in July just to keep the city contracts active.
That is a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Because it's about the underlying mechanism of survival. This raises an important question for any business owner. Are you forcing your customer to adapt to your rigid product, or are you adapting to their reality?
Right.
By changing with the seasons, HomeForge Pro dropped their churn from 22% to just 5%.
That is a massive drop.
And their net dollar retention soared to 127%, meaning their existing customers were actually spending more money over time. And they cut their CAC payback period, the time it took to pay back their marketing costs, in half.
Wow.
Think about the subscription boxes or streaming services you use. How many do you cancel because you only really use them half the time? A rigid business loses that customer forever. An adaptable one stays relevant.
Okay, so let's say you've put all these pieces together. You validated your hyper-specific niche for $50. You built deep roots with proprietary data. You aligned your pricing with actual usage. But you are still just one person sitting in your living room with exactly $0 for a marketing budget.
Right.
How do you actually get anyone to find your website? You can't outspend the corporate giants on ads.
You don't try to outspend them. You leverage what the reports call shoestring marketing. Specifically, a tactic known as programmatic SEO, or PSEO.
Wait, how is programmatic SEO different from just, writing a ton of blog posts?
It's the difference between handwriting a flyer and building a digital printing press.
Okay.
Instead of a human spending 3 days writing one generic blog post, you use simple database structures to automatically generate thousands of highly targeted landing pages.
Like those travel websites, right?
Exactly. Instead of writing one article on cheap hotels, they connect a database of every city in the world to a page template. It automatically generates a unique page for best budget hotels in Paris, best budget hotels in London, and so on.
There is a crazy data example in the stack about a site doing exactly this. They used WordPress custom fields to launch 15,000 uniquely optimized pages in just 90 days.
15,000 pages.
And their organic search traffic spiked by 850%. They went from driving 67 signups a month to 2,100 a month, all automated.
It's a phenomenal way to capture specialized search traffic. But programmatic SEO only works if you are speaking the exact language of your niche.
Right.
The sources highlight a company called Outbuild, a construction scheduling SaaS. They completely ignored generic search terms like project management.
Because construction foremen don't search for that.
Exactly. They target hyper-specific job site terms. Things like look-ahead planning, pull planning, and CPM schedules.
By mirroring the actual language of the site, they grew their traffic from 3,000 to 10,000 visitors in a year.
With highly qualified leads.
Well, hold on. So what does this all mean for the future of search? Because let me play devil's advocate here.
Go for it.
With AI search engines taking over, like AI overviews, giving users the answer right on the search page without you ever needing to click a link, doesn't this whole strategy of making thousands of SEO pages eventually hit a brick wall?
That is the common fear. But the mechanics of how AI actually works prove the exact opposite.
Really?
Yes. AI engines actually feed on unique, original data. They need authoritative data to generate their answers.
Huh.
If you provide genuine, unique insights that don't exist anywhere else, the AI engines are forced to cite you as the source.
Look at HR Data Hub from our sources.
Exactly. They are a salary benchmarking micro-SaaS. Instead of publishing generic SEO advice, they publish their own original salary benchmark surveys.
Based entirely on their proprietary user data.
Right. And because that data was completely unique, AI search engines scraped it, used it to answer questions, and cited them.
And the result was an 80% increase in free trial bookings.
In a world that is drowning in automated content, deeply authentic, expert knowledge is the only thing that breaks through the noise.
Wow. We have covered a massive amount of ground today.
We really have.
We've learned that the future of software isn't massive, bloated Swiss Army knife platforms, but tiny, hyper-focused MicroSaaS tools.
Built by just one or two people.
We've seen how agentic AI is killing the per-seat pricing model, forcing usage-based billing. And we've unpacked exactly how clever founders are building moats with proprietary data and programmatic SEO to completely dominate their niches.
It's a total recalibration of the digital economy. And synthesizing all of this leaves us with a rather profound implication for the future of work.
What's that?
We've talked today about autonomous AI agents replacing the workflows of 10 people in specific software niches. If service as a software becomes the norm, and these MicroSaaS tools can independently execute tasks from start to finish, what happens to the concept of the white-collar middle management job when an $80 a month subscription can do it flawlessly while you sleep?
Wow, that is a heavy and incredibly important question to mull over as this technology accelerates. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep asking questions, take a hard look at the sticky tools you use every single day, and stay curious. Because as we've seen today, sometimes the most powerful tool in the wild isn't the Swiss Army knife. Sometimes it's just the scalpel.